Riddle me this. You know someone who you could describe as a family man. He attends the weekly Mass and happens to be a member of the Opus Dei. Formerly known as the Prelature of the Holy Cross and Opus Dei, an institution that teaches that holiness and ordinary life is the path to sanctity. His 3 sons go to all-boys preparatory schools and his 2 daughters to a Roman Catholic school. Priests can vouch for his regular attendance at the daily 6:30 a.m. Mass for more than 2 decades. A reasonably conservative man that you may have seen strolling his dog in the community park. But then, on February 18, 2001, you turn on your TV and see his picture there with a line that reads, FBI agent charged as spy who aided Russia for 20 years. His name is Robert Hannsen, a former FBI agent credited as one of the deadliest double agents in modern American history. It would suffice to say that his case is regarded as one of the most dangerous intelligence disasters with the most traitorous actions imaginable, as he operated as a mole within the Counterintelligence Division, a highly sensitive part of the Bureau accountable for the sole purpose of catching foreign spies. But how did such a model human being, a church-going father of 6, transform into a twisted double agent? Well, for this, we'll have to dig deeper inside the psychology of a child burdened with high expectations and an abusive father. He was born in Chicago, Illinois on April 18, 1944, to a father who served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. His father played an important role in modeling his dubious personality, as he was reportedly abused and told that he would not succeed in life. Hannsen attended a public high school and later graduated from Knox College, Illinois, majoring in chemistry and Russian. For a while, he studied dentistry, but soon switched and obtained an MBA, eventually winding up as an accountant. Later, in 1968, he married his college sweetheart named Bonnie, who reportedly became the first person to catch him selling secrets to the Soviets. But we'll come to that later. The couple decided to send each of their children to elite private schools, in addition to committing to donate a small portion of their wealth to the charitable works of Opus Dei. Such a squander lifestyle was gaining its toll on Hannsen's financial stability, and soon a bigger paycheck was required to sustain his needs. After a few years of working as an accountant, he decided to enter law enforcement, which tends to be a less remunerative career, given his monetary requirements. Nevertheless, Hannsen joined the police force and worked for 4 years in an elite investigating corruption unit, all thanks to his background. He then applied and was accepted into the FBI in 1976 in light of his exceptional credentials with prior work experience as an accountant, and his 4 years in the anti-corruption unit made him the perfect fit for the agency's financial crimes division. After working for 2 years, he successfully applied for a transfer to the FBI office in New York City and was assigned to the counterintelligence post. It was a job description sufficient enough to fulfill his fondness of espionage, as he was a huge James Bond fan. Although Hannsen was extremely smart and technically skillful, he could not work as a field operative. Hence, he was assigned to an administrative desk job to assemble a database on foreign diplomats who were intelligence officers spying on the United States. Most of these posing diplomats were agents of the Soviet intelligence agency, the KGB, or its lesser-known counterpart, the GRU. But the question is, despite having such a perfect career, why did he commit treason? What were his motivations? Well, for Hannsen, this job was not enough because of the growing financial constraints coupled with his increasing detestation as he felt wronged by the agency. It forced him towards committing treachery for the very first time, and just like that, his double life began. Using his obsession regarding how the Soviet operations work, in November 1979, Hannsen made his first contact with the GRU and presented himself as a spy. Intelligent and witty as he was, he insisted on hiding his identity from the very beginning from his Soviet contacts. Between 1979 and 1981, Hannsen provided the Soviet intelligence services with valuable information stolen directly from his department, using an old spy technique called dead drops in exchange for $20,000 to $30,000. A dead drop is a method used to pass on information or items between two different individuals without any direct contact. It is a classic technique of espionage tradecraft, thus maintaining operational security. With Hannsen's deceit, highly valuable information was lost to the Soviets, including the name of an American spy and Soviet General Dmitry Polikov, who had been working for the US since 1960. Weirdly enough, the Russians didn't take any immediate actions against Dmitry, although he was closely watched from this point on till his arrest as a spy and execution in 1988. But after a little while, Hannsen was caught, not by the FBI or CIA, but his wife Bonnie. She found a letter in the basement of their house addressed to him by the GRU. Upon her confrontation, he confessed to his crime. She insisted he should also confess to the Roman Catholic priest. Consequently, the remorseful spy repented and vowed never to carry out such horrendous actions again. But interestingly enough, the priest offered him a questionable solution. He asked Hannsen to donate the money he received from the Soviets. In return, the priest promised to refrain from reporting his crimes to the FBI. Hannsen agreed, but he had used most of the money. Committed to his wife's insistence, he made small payments over the next few years to a charity linked to Mother Teresa's organization. In the 1980s, Hannsen was transferred to Washington, D.C., where he was placed in the FBI headquarters. Until 1985, he worked in the Budget and Soviet Analytical Unit, which put him at the center of a web of high-value information. After 4 years, Hannsen came back to the New York field office, this time as a supervisor of a foreign intelligence team with a handful of information from CIA and NSA, and had access to the identities of the FBI's Soviet sources as well as KGB traders in the US, all of which he was about to use. In 1985, Hannsen resumed his espionage activities, this time taking them to the next level, the Russian capital, Moscow. On October 4, 1985, Hannsen posted an envelope to Viktor Dechar, a Soviet spy who was posing as a diplomat. Viktor opened the letter and realized that whoever sent this envelope was aware of his secret identity. He also found another envelope with clear instructions that it should only be handed over to his supervisor, Cherkashin, the spy master. With the fear of jeopardizing diplomatic affairs with the US, Viktor heeded the demands and handed it over to Cherkashin. In it contained a letter that read, "Soon there will be a box full of high-value information sent to Viktor Dechar, sufficient to justify $100,000 payment." The letter also carried information about 3 CIA spies working with the Russians, namely Boris Yuzin, Sergei Motorin, and Valery Martinov, along with instructions regarding future communications. This was mind-boggling on Cherkashin's end. He had just unveiled the identities of 3 CIA moles by simply opening a letter. Motorin and Martinov were executed, while Yuzin received 15 years imprisonment. On the other hand, Hannsen gained $100,000 in cash. This act of espionage went on for the next 6 years, from 1985 to 1991, with Hannsen continually compromising the counterintelligence agencies with chunks of highly sophisticated information in exchange for bundles of cash. Both Hannsen and Viktor managed to work indirectly, relying on the classic espionage technique, dead drops. For example, a piece of white adhesive tape placed vertically on a signboard in a park in Virginia would indicate that a package has been placed under a footbridge. At this point, the agency grew suspicious of the breach, but had no way of knowing who the mole was. Hannsen himself cautiously placed fake clues to lure them in the wrong direction, making it extremely difficult for the FBI to uncover the mole. Well, not exactly. There were 2 distinct occasions where Hannsen let loose and was almost caught. On the first occasion, Hannsen's wife Bonnie found $5,000 cash in their basement. and she was alarmed that her beloved husband might have started spying again. When she met her brother, who was also an FBI agent, she divulged her findings to him, to which he reported back to his supervisors, but no actions were taken. On the second occasion, Hannsen tried contacting the Soviets and spoke to them through a payphone. His clumsy action could have easily led to his downfall, as most of the phones at the embassy were presumably tapped and recorded. Nothing happened. But in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and with it, the KGB. Hannsen was forced to stop his spying activities, as he feared that his identity might be revealed by a rogue KGB agent recruited by the CIA. To his surprise, nothing happened for the next 8 years, until his third stint of betrayal. In 1999, while assigned as an FBI liaison with the State Department, he once again began selling American secrets. Only this time, he was in bad luck as a veteran KGB agent began doing the same on the other side. The KGB agent came across Hannsen's file and contacted the FBI, demanding $7 million in exchange for this top-notch information. Understanding the value of the mole and the possible damage, the FBI agreed. Although the file did not contain any name, the evidence was clearly pointing towards Hannsen. The FBI placed Hannsen under surveillance and soon discovered that he was again in contact with the Russians. They had to come up with an excuse to bring him back to FBI headquarters, where he would be closely monitored and kept away from sensitive data. So in December 2000, they gave him a new job as a supervising agent for computer security. Special Agent O'Neill was assigned to him, posing as his assistant. You must be thinking, why the FBI didn't catch him straight away with all the evidence they had at this point? The truth is, they could, but they wanted to catch him red-handed, ensuring a confirmed trial and an inevitable conviction. The circle was beginning to close in. O'Neill ascertained that Hannsen was using a Palm 3 PDA to store his information. When O'Neill was able to briefly obtain Hannsen's PDA and have agents download and decode its encrypted contents, the FBI had its smoking gun. In early February of 2001, Hannsen himself was beginning to sense that something was wrong. He later said that he believed he was hearing weird noises coming from his car radio, which he thought was a clear indication of the installation of a bug. The FBI was not able to confirm if this suspicion was true. Regardless of these concerns, Hannsen could not hold himself from one more dead drop. On February 18, 2001, when Robert Hannsen was on his way home in Vienna, Virginia, he stopped at Foxstone Park. He stuck a piece of white medical tape on the sign outside the entrance of the park. Hannsen then walked through the cold park to a wooden footbridge and placed a sealed black garbage bag in a secret spot near the base of the bridge. Hannsen briskly but inconspicuously darted back to his car. But before he could reach it, he was swarmed by a team of FBI officers who were pointing guns in his face and yelling, "Freeze!" All the years of ongoing espionage and spying activities finally came to an end. As the FBI agents clapped handcuffs on Hannsen, he had only one question: what took you so long? In all, by the time he was arrested in February 2001, Hannsen had received an estimated $1.4 million from the Soviets and Russians. In exchange, he compromised lists of American undercover agents abroad and the identities of numerous Russian double agents. He also revealed documents showing that the United States was intercepting Soviet satellite transmission and the methods by which the U.S. would retaliate in the event of a nuclear attack. On July 6, 2001, Hannsen pleaded guilty to 15 counts of espionage and conspiracy in exchange for the government not seeking the death penalty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Upon asking why did he do it, this is what he said: "Fear. Fear of being a failure and fear of not being able to provide for my family." Hannsen also said he had rage towards the FBI each time he was denied a promotion. He was determined to prove they had made a mistake in not promoting him by selling information to the Russians with large-scale espionage. He is currently serving at ADX Florence, an American supermax federal prison, which provides a higher level of custody than a maximum security prison. Along with Robert Hannsen, it also houses inmates such as the notorious Oklahoma City bombing co-conspirator Terry Nichols and Ramzi Youssef, who carried out the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. What do you think about Robert Hannsen? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, please remember to click the like, subscribe, and notification bell to stay tuned for the next visual story.